Princess Ako went with her husband, Prince Chima, to his village, and they lived in the beautiful palace of Umunze. Princess Ola also went with Nnamdi, and they lived in a small hut close to the palace. Ola was still very much angry about the turn of events, and the small hut agitated her the more. "So you don't even have a decent house," she told Nnamdi. "You expect me to live in this rat's hole with you? Since you decided to ruin my life by deceiving me into this poverty with you, I will make sure that you regret ever meeting me. I will make your life miserable." Nnamdi looked at Ola helplessly. He didn't know how to pacify her. He loved her truly and would try his best to take care of her. He just needs her to calm down and trust him. It didn't take long before Prince Chima's father died, and he became the king. Chima and Ako were coronated, and they both became the king and queen of Umunze. Life was going on well for Queen Ako. Her husband loved and respected her so much. He would gift her new beautiful wrappers every time. She was really pampered and had several maids attending to her. Queen Ako did not forget about her sister Ola. She would always send gifts of food and clothes to her. At times, she would also send some of her maids to go and help Ola with her house chores. Queen Ako tried her best to help her sister and make life easier for her. Ola, on the other hand, resented her sister. She hated her secretly because she believed that Ako stole her life. She was the one who was supposed to be in that palace as the queen. She was supposed to be married to the king of Umunze, but Ako stole all that from her. Ola pretended to be grateful for all Ako did for her, but deep down, she held a deep grudge for Ako. Ola started to frustrate Nnamdi. She would tell him to get expensive things for her, things she knew he could not afford. And when he came back home without the exact items, she would nag the hell out of him and deny him food that night. She could not imagine Nnamdi touching her, and so she denied him access to her body. At nights, she would sleep on the bed while Nnamdi would sleep on the floor. Nnamdi would barely get any sleep as she would wake him for him to fan her. The next morning, she would make him sweep the whole compound, fetch water and make food for her before he leaves for his work at the palace. When he returns in the evening, he would also have to go and cook because Ola would never lift a finger to do anything. This was the kind of marriage Nnamdi and Ola had. Nnamdi tried everything to please Ola, but Ola was very rigid. Ola started to run out of patience with Nnamdi, and anytime she sees Queen Ako enjoying in the palace, the bile in her grew. The deep-seated grudge started to cry for revenge, and desperation set in. Ola knew that for her to take what rightfully belongs to her, she must get rid of any obstacle in her way, regardless of who it was. Ola went to a juju man's place and told him to give her a poisonous potion that would kill someone slowly without any trace. She had already cooked up a sinister plan and was very sure that everything would work out perfectly. From that day, Ola changed. She became soft and kind towards Nnamdi. She would do the house chores and prepare his meal before he arrived. Whenever Nnamdi bought a little gift for her, she would happily accept it and appreciate him, unlike before. Nnamdi was happy that his wife had changed. Finally, she decided to accept him the way he was and cooperate with him. She was no longer complaining or frustrating his efforts anymore. Poor Nnamdi. He did not know that these were his happy last days on earth. Ola was consistently putting the poisonous portion into Nnamdi's food while ensuring that he finishes the food alone. As the days went by, Nnamdi started to complain of a consistent pain in his head. He was always getting weaker by the day. Whenever he complained, Ola would tell him that he was stressed and needed to rest. She would then proceed to boil some herbs for him, while adding the poison into it again. This continued until the worst happened. Nnamdi had gone to the palace that morning. He was with King Chima when he started to stagger, complaining of a blurry vision. He was made to sit down and given a cup of water. He seemed to get better, but only for a short while, because 30 minutes later, he started to cough and vomit blood. The herbalist was quickly sent for, but before he could arrive, Nnamdi had died. What a tragedy! Ola heard the news of her husband's death, and she immediately ran to the palace, throwing herself on the floor. She wept bitterly, refusing to let anyone console her. "I am finished. Who did this to me? What did I do to deserve this? My husband is gone. Just when I was starting to enjoy my marriage, my world has ended." She went on and on. Her sister Queen Aku tried to hold her to stop her from saying those words, but she was uncontrollable. Aku felt deeply sorry for her. Her sister had really been through so much. She did not deserve this. First, she was forced to get married to a poor man who could not give her the kind of life she wanted. And now that she has finally decided to accept her reality and love her husband, she lost him. This life was really not fair to her sister. King Chima saw how sad his wife was because of her sister's predicament, and he was deeply troubled. He didn't like to see his wife in such mood. He asked her what they could do for her sister to help. Queen Aku told the king, "I really don't know what to do. Ola is in so much pain. I wish I can take away the pain from her. If you please permit her to stay with us here in the palace, her house would be lonely and scary for her." The king agreed, and Ola started staying at the palace with them. Nnamdi was buried, and Ola continued to mourn her late husband. While at the palace, Ola kept low and was always gloomy. She knew she had to be careful so as not to give room for any form of suspicion. Her plans were going on perfectly, except for a little glitch. She had just discovered that she was pregnant, of course for her late husband. She needed to act fast before the pregnancy would become visible. Ola went back to the Juju man's place and requested for a charm with which to turn King Chima's love away from Aku. She wanted the king to start to love her and then marry her. She was going to be the queen at all costs and then pin the pregnancy on King Chima. Queen Aku continued to take care of her sister and kept her company. She was going to let her stay in the palace until she was in the right state of mind to go back home. But that day never came, because that night, Ola begged Queen Aku that she should permit her to cook for them. It was going to be her own way of appreciating them for the love and support they have shown her since her husband died. Aku agreed and allowed Ola to cook that night, unknown to her that Ola had her own evil plans. When she had finished cooking, Ola dished the king's food and added the charm into it. She also rubbed an enchanting powder on her face, as the Juju man had told her. She brought out the food and she served both Queen Aku and King Chima. Queen Aku was so happy to see a beam of smile on her sister's face after a very long time. King Chima saw Ola and he seemed to be hooked. Her face seemed familiar, like someone he had known for a very long time. He quickly shook off the feeling and ate his food. Ola sat with them to make sure that nobody ate from the king's plate. That night, when the king slept, he had a strange dream. An old man took him to his father-in-law's palace and pointed to Aku and Ola sitting in front of the palace. The old man told him that he was married to the wrong one and that Ola was his real wife. Immediately the man said that he vanished. King Chima woke up surprised and confused. He felt empty and restless. When he turned and saw Queen Aku lying down beside him, he angrily woke her up and told her to get out of his room. Queen Aku was surprised and tried to calm the king down, but he pushed her out. King Chima then went to Ola's room, and when he saw her sleeping, he went and gently carried her to his room. Ola opened her eyes, and when she saw that it was the king who was carrying her, she smiled secretly. Victory at last, she thought. In the morning, Queen Aku went to meet the king, only to see Ola sitting on the king's lap. She was taken aback. The king had pushed her out of his room last night, only for Ola to be on his laps this morning. What is wrong? She asked the king what was going on, and the king told her that he has realized that she deceived him into marrying her. But his eyes are clear now, and he is with the woman he truly loves, his real wife. He told Aku to leave his room and never again show her face before him. Aku left crying bitterly. All this time, Ola avoided Aku's eyes and remained quiet on the king's laps. Aku waited for Ola to come out, and when she saw her, she ran to her, crying, asking her why she would want to collect her husband from her. Ola told Aku that it was destiny and no one could fight with it. Her late husband Nnamdi had appeared to her last night in a dream and told her that she must marry King Chima. She could not disobey the dead, and so she had to obey and be with the king. It's not my fault, even the king too. It's not his fault. Just take heart and let's go. I'm sure you will see another husband, Ola said and walked away. Aku stood there crying, looking as her sister left. The king fell helplessly in love with Ola and would do anything Ola told him to do. Ola told him to send Aku to the small hut behind the royal house and to withdraw all the maids attending to her. Ola ensured that Aku lost everything in the palace and she was turned into a commoner. 1 month later, Ola told the king that she was pregnant for him, and the king was overjoyed. He would soon become a father. They were still rejoicing when Aku entered the palace and told the king that she had an important information for him. The king told her to say it there or get out. Aku said, I have been feeling sick for a while now, and so I went to the herbalist. He confirmed that I am pregnant, so I decided to come and inform you. The king looked at Aku with indifference. Inform me as what? What is my business with your pregnancy? Aku looked at him with tears in her eyes and told him, You are the father of my child. Abomination, Ola shouted. So after frolicking with the guards, you want to come and pin that thing in your stomach on my husband? Have you no shame? Or do you think I don't see you and those guards at night? I am sure one of them must be responsible for your pregnancy. The king stood up in anger and faced Aku. You this cheap woman. So you have the guts to come before me with this pregnancy that is not mine. I will surely make you suffer for this. I forbid you from eating any food from this palace ever again. You will starve to death with that pregnancy of yours. Ola was very happy. She felt threatened by Aku's pregnancy, but on hearing the king's punishment for Aku, she was relaxed. She knew that Aku would soon die of starvation. Ola ordered all the maids and guards to not give Aku any food henceforth. And that was how Queen Aku, the fat queen, started to starve. She fell ill and eventually lost a lot of weight. She would have died if not for the fact that one of the palace maids would sneak out of the palace at night to bring Aku some food. Even though the food was barely enough, at least it was better than nothing. Within 8 months, Queen Aku had lost so much weight that she became even malnourished. What kept her going was the faith that one day the king will realize his mistake and come for her and his unborn baby. But that day never seemed to come, as Ola had a strong grip on the king. She had already convinced the king that he would marry her and make her his queen after she put to bed. The king showered her with all the love and gifts. He would not even let her lift as much as a finger. She had maids always at her beck and call. On this fateful day, one of the palace maids had gone into Ola's private room to sweep. Before now, Ola had warned all the maids not to go into her room for anything at all. This particular maid was new to the palace and was not aware of this strict instruction. She was sweeping under the bed when a small round wooden calabash rolled out of the bed. She picked it up, curious as to what it was. Accidentally, the calabash fell from her hand and broke into pieces, pouring a black substance on the floor. The maid was shocked and tried to sweep away the black substance. At the palace, King Chima was with Ola. He was feeding her some bananas when he suddenly became unconscious. His sight was blurry for some seconds before he regained his consciousness. He looked around and saw Ola sitting in the position of Queen Aku. He was confused and asked Ola, "Where is my wife?" Ola looked at him amused and asked back, "Who is your wife?" King Chima left her there and went to ask the guards where the queen was. They told him that she was in the hut behind the palace. He was shocked to hear that. He rushed over only to see Aku lying down almost lifeless. Her body was so hot and she was very weak. He quickly carried her into the royal house and sent for the herbalist. Ola, on seeing how the king ran out in search of Aku, sensed that there was a problem. She quickly went to her room, only to find out that her secret calabash was broken. The juju man had warned her not to let the particles of the calabash pour away, because that was what made the charm on the king effective. Ola knew that she was done for. She became scared and went into a panic mood. The shock made her go into labor, and the midwife was sent to attend to her. While Queen Aku and Ola were being attended to, King Chima had to find out from his guards what had happened. They explained what they knew to him, and it then dawned on him that Ola had bewitched and manipulated him into doing all those things. He was very angry and could not wait for Ola to come out of the delivery room so he could tear her apart. The herbalist attending to Aku told the king that she had been malnourished for a very long time and it had affected the baby. She had to be induced to give birth as soon as possible. If not, her life and that of the baby might be lost. The king told him to do anything to save their lives. Later that evening, Aku gave birth to a baby boy, while Ola gave birth to a baby girl. Aku was still very weak, but King Chima sat by her bedside, crying and apologizing for all the wrong he had done to her and their son. He could not believe that his once healthy and robust wife was now very thin and pale. Aku told him that she knew he was under the influence of her sister Ola. She forgave him and they reconciled. 2 weeks after Ola put to bed, she was summoned before the king and everyone. She was asked to confess her sins, and she confessed that she killed her husband Nnamdi and bewitched the king into loving her. Her jealousy for her sister and desperation to become the queen pushed her into committing the evil. Aku looked at her sister in shock. She had been nothing but kind to Ola. She had helped her and stood by her, but she chose to pay her back like this. Ola is really worse than the devil. What if I had lost my life during that time? Aku thought. Ola's baby was taken away from her and she was banished away from the village. Aku took care of the baby, raising her like her own child. The moral of this story lies in the fact that a foundation built on deceit and lies can never hold a house. Nnamdi deceived Ola into marrying him, knowing full well that Ola was drawn to royalty and wealth. Forcing someone to love you against their wish always ends in disaster. Also, don't be too trusting of someone who has once given you a reason to be wary of them. People driven by desperation and greed hardly ever change. And even if they might end up in disaster, they might have done a great damage to you before karma catches up with them. So be wise. Nothing is hidden under the sun forever. No matter how you feel like you have successfully carried out that evil plan, one day the truth will come to light. Everyone must reap in accordance to what they sow. Thank you for watching. What moral lesson can you deduce from this story? Share with us in the comment section. Subscribe for more stories. Also like and share to your loved ones. Till I bring another story your way. Bye.